We're in Mountain City, Georgia, and we're in here to try to equalize these colonies and keep them under control until we get them split next week. They're scheduled to be split next week, and we're just trying to keep them from swarming on us before we get it done. So one of the fellows I buy queens from in South Georgia, scheduled to have 200 queens next week, just called me and told me that he is not going to be able to do it because he's got a bunch of colonies down in the orange groves in Florida, and later this week and the beginning of next week he has to move them out. He's forced to do it, and he's not going to be at home to harvest the queens that he's supposed to send to us. So now we got to figure out how we're going to keep these bees under control. We have Apagard, which is the thymol gel on the truck, and we've been giving it to some colonies, and we're going to give these guys a heavy dose to try to stop their brood rearing and kind of shock the colony a little bit, stop the queen from laying for a few days perhaps, and basically just try to shock them into not doing anything drastic like building swarm cells over the next 5 or 6 days. It works. I've done it before. Anytime you can break the brood cycle in a colony, you just curtail swarming for a while. So we're going to kind of play a little bit of a game, kind of a different type of idea on that same scenario. See if we can break the brood cycle shortly here, push the bees' tendency to want to build swarm cells back at least a week or two, try to keep them under control. So the plans have changed. Okay. Not only this yard, but we got to do some other yards too. Okay, so right off the bat, we got some colonies that are absolutely loaded. I wish I could split them today, honestly. Oscar's got some unsealed cells right there. John's, yours is okay?
Good, it's ready.
It's loaded with bees though, isn't it? You got a bunch of them, Oscar, or just a few? No, you got several, yeah. Okay, let's take this colony and split it. We got several dead spots here. Let's make 3 or 4 colonies out of this one. There's a dead spot right next door we can fill, and a couple of these others. We got boxes and lids with us, so we can do that. How's the weight on these guys?
This one's heavy.
Okay. If anything that's heavy, do not feed it. We do not want to stimulate them anymore. So I mean, it doesn't take a lot of weight. Maybe 3 or 4 frames of honey for the next few weeks will be fine. Okay, so Oscar, what I suggest is you just take that box and put it where Seth's smoker is. Just get the boxes separated, and then I'd like to make 2 more if there's enough cells. You may not have cells on 4 different frames, but if you do, we'll make 4 splits total. While you're watching, watch for the queen and kill her.
Hey, that's cool,
this yard's going to get requeened this year entirely, so we can start right now. If you find the queen, kill her. If you don't find her, don't worry about it. Okay. So John, you're just going to get an Apagard right now.
Sir. Yep.
The reason we're putting it between the boxes instead of on top like we usually do is because of this cool weather. I don't think it would activate very well up on top, but in the middle it'll activate really well. I've done this before several times, this exact same thing, so it does work. And in the meantime, we're treating for mites a little too, so why not? And that should buy us a week or 2, I think. It'll be interesting to see if it works in this case. That thing is loaded with bees.
Yeah, it's a good.
Now, the ones that we're splitting with queen cells, Oscar, I do not want to treat with Apagard. We do not want to treat with those open queen cells like that. Breaking the brood cycle is almost a mite treatment in itself, so that's good enough. Let's see what this one's like.
Sorry.
Okay, let's see what this one's like, John.
Here we go.
Yeah, that looks pretty good for a cold day.
I think they're looking pretty good.
Just put it up on that lid, stand it on end. See anything?
Oh man, no, sir.
Lots of cups, but I don't see any larvae or eggs.
No eggs, no cups.
Yeah, you're good.
That's beautiful.
How heavy is the box?
Got some weight.
Okay, no feed. Heavy Apagard right in the center there.
There we go.
Let's get another Apagard.
I got a queen here.
Okay, kill her. Go ahead and kill her.
There you go. Oh yeah, that makes it quick now. You just move with it. Yep. Yeah, that's a beautiful colony right there.
Try not to kill too many bees, John. Okay, great. I like I said, I wish we could split these right now. They're ready right now.
Oh, they're perfect, aren't they?
Yeah. Okay, well, it is what it is. And we will hopefully not find too many with cells in them. There's another part of this scenario too. We've been getting queens from Chris Werner every week, starting last week. And they're coming on time. Chris is good. But the other problem is that the bees are 2 weeks ahead of schedule. And we booked all our queens in October and set the schedule. And if I would have known that the bees were going to be doing this, I would have tried to get queens a little bit earlier. But the schedule's set, we have to stick with it, and so it is what it is.
Got a lot of
Heavy?
Oh, I believe we are clear.
Huh?
We're clear. No cell.
Clear, okay. All right. That's an old cell. Check. Well, that's pretty new looking. Let's see if they got it. No eggs. Have you been in the bottom? Okay. So.
And there's barely any capped brood left.
Okay. Mark it as a virgin queen.
Okay.
Do not treat it.
Okay.
You don't want to put Apigard in something that's trying to mate a queen.
Okay.
In some cases, they'll eat this dead larva. Either way, they're going to clean it out. I mean, we could go to the work and clean it out, but the bees will actually do a pretty good job themselves. And then when they get over that, let's put that dead center. And when they get over that little shock, they're just going to build more. So. They all look, every single one looks like this. So just prop it up on end here. That makes it really easy to see your cells. I also like to turn it towards the sun too. Turn it the other way and it'll be in the sun. It'll make it a lot easier to see. There you go. Now you can really see. Okay, that's good enough. So I should also mention, what's that? Hey, how heavy is that box?
It's pretty heavy.
No feed then. Ditto, huh? Ditto, ditto. I haven't seen any mites in the drone brood yet.
I haven't either, and I've looked every time I popped
Yeah,
it.
it's in good shape. You got no cells in this one? Okay. We got a lot of yards that are just like this. So in the next few days, we got a lot of work to do. Nice sign. Pick it up.
Yeah, go ahead, Jason.
So I take a Sharpie and mark 50 milliliters on here. Since we're doing double deep, so I do 50 milliliters and we do 30 for the singles. And that way it makes it really easy to just draw back to that line and put it on the card since we're doing so many cards.
You know something else I noticed?
What's that?
This stuff has more smell to it than the stuff from last year. Can you smell it?
A little bit.
Yeah, last year's stuff didn't smell as strong as this.
Oh, well.
And you want to try to make sure that you keep it mixed as you go.
I'll tell you, although this is kind of a swarm control measure, I don't mind the idea of giving them a little mite treatment right now. Okay, we're doing the same thing in this yard, except for we're equalizing as we go. This yard has not been equalized yet. Taking them down to 6 frames of brood, maybe 7. Apigard treatment, second story box, inside feeder full of food, and this yard's a little bit on the light side, so almost every colony's getting a 2-gallon bucket too. We'll probably get back here in about 2.5 weeks according to my schedule, my calendar. It's kind of overcast. It's not a very nice day suddenly, but the bees are still acting okay. They're bringing in a little pollen. Maybe they're preoccupied. A lot of brood coming out of here. I don't know what we're going to do with the brood we're bringing out of here, but got to take some out of here. We'll take it down south tomorrow. We'll find a place for it. Brandon, show me the type of frames of brood we were putting in that box. Just want to take a picture of it. Yeah, this nice sealed brood. I can see some areas beginning to hatch. It's the perfect frame to boost a smaller colony with. The other one looks just like it, I guess.
Yeah, looks close.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good stuff to take away from a colony that's getting too big and give to one that's too small. All right, thank you. John tells me he's going to buy that house out there. That's John's future house. That's a castle. That's what that is.
That's the people that are building the place right. It's like an insane asylum.
We didn't have too many that had cells in this yard, just a few. But we did something weird. We made triples out of them. Each third has a cell in it. We used double screen boards. You can see one's facing forward. One's got the entrance facing backwards. Same with that stack. And then stack over there, we did the same thing. So, being creative. There's a beautiful waterfall behind those trees. I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up. It's a real long, high waterfall. We're really close to the North Carolina line right here. We're in Dillard, Georgia. Okay, this is going to be interesting. We were here a little over a week ago and gave these bees an Apiguard treatment to try to keep them under control, keep them from building swarm cells, kind of sort of shut the queen down a little bit. It's going to be interesting to see if it worked very well. I'll tell you what I'm not seeing in these things is all that drone brood between the top bars and the bottom bars of the upper box. Yeah, well, yeah, like that. The last time we were here, every colony was loaded with it. And this one obviously has some, but let's see if this thing's, what kind of brood they got. I want to see if they shut down after the Apiguard. Okay, that comb's full of larvae. Now, if it shut them down, it didn't shut them down very long.
We've got all kinds of larvae here.
But it seems to have had the effect we were looking for in that we're not seeing any swarm cells at all, so I guess it was worth the trouble. Okay, we were in here a little over a week ago, gave them an Apiguard treatment to try to keep them under control till we could get back and split them. And it seemed to work. There's good evidence that most of the colonies either shut down completely momentarily just for a day or two, or definitely cut back. A lot of the drone brood that was in between the boxes is no longer there. It seems like they cleared it out. No swarm cells at all in this yard today, although some of these colonies are definitely strong enough to have wanted to do it. And I think that generally worked. Plus we got a little bit of a mite treatment in there too. Okay, to start with, this feels like cheating. They're not supposed to be this easy. Okay, John, cut it above his hand.
Alright. Nice little handle right there. Yep, you ready? I'm ready.
Okay, it doesn't get much easier than that.
Should I just leave the whole branch?
No, shake it off. Shake it off here.
Perfect.
And then fill the frames. And again, you need a comb in there, a bait comb, to help keep them in there.
Okay, we'll find one.
Probably have to get pull one from.
Not a very big swarm. Here, John, just put it on that dead spot over there. Perfect. I'm sure we'll figure out which one it came out of. And our shop is about a quarter mile that way. Gosh, look at all that pollen. We went from starving for pollen to plugged up with pollen in, what, 6 days or something? That went fast.